Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. Tonight we got a good show lineup for you. Today is 8/27/2018. The whole month is about gone. So tonight we have on the air with us Miss Tammy Bogle. That was one of her songs you were just listening to. Are you there, Tammy?
I am.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Probably not as good as you, but doing good.
Well, I don't know. We just made a little over a 12-hour trip, and we just got back home about 15 minutes ago. So.
Yeah, you're out on the road touring right now, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We stay out on the road quite a bit, especially on the weekends.
Okay. So what neck of the woods are you hanging out in these days?
We actually live in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
And you're not afraid of the tornadoes?
Oh, no. We welcome them.
Why do you live in Oklahoma? You've got beautiful Florida sitting down here. You could be down here with your sweet voice singing music, and you're all the way up in Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, you know, we hit a lot of states, though, too, so it's not like, all I see is Oklahoma. And I'm from Texas, too, so.
You wouldn't be able to tell it from the accent.
Right? I know.
It's like my sister I'm going to have her on the air here in a few weeks, and she's got a southern twang like you've never heard in your life. You guys almost sound alike, but her voice is way out there. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I've got the bios here in front of me. I can read them, but I'd rather hear you talk.
Well, let's see. I am married to an amazing man for going on 16 years now. We have two awesome young men. Actually, our oldest son will be 22 here coming up the first part of September. Our 15-year-old, he's 6 foot, but he's a big boy, but they just are just amazing kids. They love their mom and dad with all their heart, very family loyal, but more than anything, they're God loyal. And that's one thing that I have always tried to instill in them, and James has instilled in them, is to be men of God, be respectful of women, that whole thing. Because, we were raised country. And, the men opened the doors for the ladies and, that type thing. And so they're following right along in that. But they have a real passion for the Lord, and I'm really excited about that. So
that's something you don't find with a lot of kids nowadays. They like to wear their bitches down halfway down their
that's right.
halfway down their body, and they don't respect women. They're not I saw a kid the other day just open the door, walk right in and cut right in front of 3 women. That was actually today when I was over at a store, and I was like, what happened to these kids? Now, does your husband and your sons, are they in the band with you?
Well, we actually, I'm a singer and songwriter, and our 15-year-old is actually our sound engineer. He runs our sound for us. Our almost 22, that's hard for me to say because that was my baby at one time. But his name is Cody, and he actually sings with me quite a bit. We do a lot of entertainment events, or whatever you want to call it, in assisted livings and nursing homes, which is something we just absolutely love, is just ministering to those precious people. So he sings with me a lot in those. And then he'll sing with me some at different events and some churches and things like that. Sometimes James will sing with me if the boys just kind of in a place where they don't want to go that weekend or whatever. So we just do this as a family ministry. God called us a long time ago, and we've been on the road since 2009. Came off the road for actually 4 years. We were in a bus for 4.5 years, MCI bus. And then we came off the road, and we had started a cowboy church for about 2.5 years, and then that closed in January, and God took us back on the road as full-time evangelists again. So we love what we do. I mean, we and I guess a way that we're a little bit different, or I'm a little bit different in my music, is that when we're asked to do like secular events, you know, I still do a little bit of positive country, like, you know, I'll do some Patsy Cline, I'll do some little bit of positive classic country. We do patriotic. We have a real heart for veterans. My husband is a veteran. My dad's a veteran. His dad was served 3 tours in Vietnam as an Army Ranger. So, you know, those are things that are very near and dear to our heart. But when we go in there, we do patriotic, we do some country, but we also come in there and we just, you know, we do Christian country or country gospel, however you want to label it. Basically, it's country music with a Jesus kick.
And so, now, what is a cowboy? You said a cowboy church. What exactly is a cowboy church?
Well, cowboy church originally was started for, you know, like guys and girls that, you know, were in the rodeo and they couldn't go to church on Sundays. And so most cowboy churches have week services through the week. And so that way they can still attend a church service. And it's, I mean, it's like country gospel music. It's, you know, and then you get some of your old gospel hymns in there, you know, and that type of thing. And usually there's a, you know, a band and everybody's just kind of, you know, basically we're all just a bunch of misfit toys. And we've been there, done that. We've got stories and, you know, some preach them, some, you know, sing them, some just, you know, walk them. And so the best testimony there is the one you've lived. And so that's what cowboy church is all about. It's just kind of a mix of people have been here and there and done this and that. And we all found Jesus and, you know, then kind of got thrown together and we, you know, we just sing and praise the Lord and have a message. And it's just like a different church. It's just come as you are and nobody judges you based on what you wear or don't wear and, or what, you know, how you look or any of that stuff, you know. So it's just a really, you know, laid back atmosphere. And there's thousands upon thousands of cowboy churches throughout. There's cowboy churches there in Florida. So.
Yeah. How long have you been singing? Are you one of the little girls that was standing in front of the mirror with a brush and a curling iron and singing?
No, actually, well, I've been singing since I was 2, but my daddy was a pastor at one time, and Assembly of God pastor, and so I was the one that was always, you know, behind the pulpit leading the worship, and you know, just as a young pup, and you know, just growing up, just had music in me. I loved music, and you know, led praise and worship in another church at 12. You know, I was a children's church minister at 12 years old. And so, you know, I've always had the church in me, even though I wasn't always in the church, if that makes sense. So, but I've been singing for, you know, on and off for a long time. And I had some really bad life situations happen and with the first person I was with, and I stopped singing for 5 years because of some of the things he said to me. And then God put James in my life, and 16 years ago, and he helped pick up the broken pieces of my life, and he, you know, started making me believe in myself, and I started singing again, and I hadn't done it in about 5 years. I shut completely down. So,
now,
I don't know. That's it.
Your songs we play on the air, I know, Writing for Jesus and In the Midst of the Storm and Mama's Prayer. You wrote those 3 songs?
I wrote In the Midst of the Storm, and I wrote Mama's Prayers.
In the Midst of the Storm, that wasn't because there was a tornado coming at you or anything, was it?
No, actually, that's when God first called us out into ministry in 2009. And I kind of had a temper tantrum, and I'm sure you've never done that, but you know, I kind of had a temper tantrum. And, you know,
only on Friday nights.
Yeah, right. And you know, of course, God won that conversation, and but He told me, He said, "I want you to sit here and write this song." I said, "I don't feel like writing a song. I don't want to write this song." And He kept telling me, and He won, and I didn't, and I wrote this song. So it's just talking about, you know, just because we don't have all the answers, and just because everything looks like it's piling in on us, and this big storm's fixing to just, you know, these waves are fixing to just slap us in the face, you know, God is right there. He said, "I'll never leave you and I'll never forsake you." And that's absolutely the truth. And that's what He was showing us, is He said, I'm asking you to step out on faith, just like He asked Peter to step out on the water and have faith that he wasn't going to sink. And that's where we were at. We were like Peter at that point. And God said, "I'm calling you," like in Matthew 28:19, "Go ye therefore and preach and teach to all nations." And so God has called us to go out and to minister, but He don't always lay out the roadmap. Sometimes He just says, "Go." And then that's when trust and surrender come in. So that's the point I was at. And it was just like, you know, in the midst of the storm, I'm still going to praise Your name.
Right. One of my favorite stories in the Bible was about Job. You know, how he had to endure everything, and then had his faith tested and everything else. That's got to be pretty rough when you're out on the road. I mean, you've been out on the road for, what, 10 years?
Let's see.
Since 2009?
About 9 years.
About 9. So that's got to be pretty rough. I mean, I used to travel when I was younger in the bands and stuff, and it gets old after a while, and you know, I'm sure you feel like throwing in the towel a bunch of times. So where do you find your? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, where do you find the, you know, the strength and the willpower to keep plugging along? I mean, that's a long time to be on a road.
Hands down, Jesus Christ. There's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. I mean, from the time that our feet hit the floor, we determine in our mind. I have this little saying, and people laugh, but if you think about it, it's true. Fake it till you feel it. If you put on a fake smile and you do it long enough, then it's going to stick. And then all of a sudden, your whole attitude, your whole countenance is going to change. And it needs to, because if we're going out there proclaiming the gospel, whether it's through song or message, testimony, whatever it is, you know, that's what people out there need to see. They don't need to see us in the mully grubs, and they don't need to see us, you know, poor, pitiful me and all over the place. They need to see us with a smile on our face, whether we feel like it or not. That's beside the point. And there's a lot of days where we have put our feet on the floor and been like, okay, I think we need to just roll back over in bed, you know. But God gives us the strength. He is the only one that we rely on. We don't rely on man. We don't rely on anything other than God, because He's called us to this, and He's going to get us through it, and He's going to provide the way, and He's going to open the doors He wants to open that no man can shut, and He's going to shut the doors that He don't want open, and can't no man open. I have tried. So we just completely put our faith and trust in God. When we had the bus and we were on the road for 4.5 years, it was a lot harder. I mean, you know, we didn't know from time to time where groceries were going to come from, or, you know, if we'd have enough gas to get to the next, you know, venue or whatever, but God always provided, and He always will. As long as we get our butt out of the way, then, you know, there's room for Him to move, but we have to let go before God can take over. Right. And so if we let go of control, then God comes on the scene and says, okay, now trust me, and this is where I'm taking you.
Now, do you guys tour in a bus now, or, I mean, are you driving in a car?
No.
Or you...
Yeah, well, when we came off the road, we had donated the bus to another ministry, and we're praying about the right vehicle now, because we want the boys to be able to travel with us, and of course we have, you know, our precious little Belle. She's our little Yorkie, and so she's part of the family. So But we just, if we do this as a family, we need to travel as a family. And Cody has got a tremendous testimony. God healed a heart valve problem that he had since birth. And so he's got a testimony that he needs to get out there. And so we, we're just praying, and everybody out there that wants to, please, keep us in prayer. We're looking for, bus, motorhome, whatever it is that God has for us, not what we want, but what he wants. And I know it's going to be perfect and it's going to be great. So.
Yeah. I imagine you guys wouldn't be traveling in a regular vehicle because you're taking you said your son does the sound and stuff for you. You're taking your own equipment out and stuff like that.
Well, we actually travel in a, and she is a blessing, and that is her name. I know that sounds crazy, naming your car, but this was a major blessing. But our Suburban, God absolutely blessed us with. And, it's spacious. It's, big enough for two boys that are, 6 foot tall and all leg. And but we have been blessed with a really wonderful Bose, all-in-one system. And so, we have that plus, whatever we need to travel. And so, yeah, we have that right now, but I know that God's going to, because, the first time he actually had someone donate an MCI bus to us, had brand new tires all the way around, and they had just put an engine in. You can't tell me that's not God.
Oh, yeah.
So, if he's done that once, then why would I not think that he would give us better than what he gave us the first time?
All right, for the people that's listening, MCI is Greyhound, correct? Greyhound bus.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry. I talk to a lot of people that have buses and stuff, so I'm just used to spitting out that name. But, it was a 1985 MCI bus. It was actually a college bus. And we took all the seats out, and finally in 2010, we took it out on the road for the first time. We made it a home, and all 150 square foot of it. So there wasn't much space, but it definitely kept us humble.
Those are nice buses to travel in. I actually got to travel around in one of those for a couple of years. So where are you going to be? What dates do you have coming up that you're going to be playing? Anything coming up here soon where people can?
Well, this weekend we're at a couple of assisted living. Sunday we'll be in Sanger, Texas at a cowboy church. We will be, let's see, I'm trying to think. I do the calendar, but then I can't remember anything I write down. Not bad. We've just got we have a lot of assisted livings coming up. We have several churches coming up. We have some revivals coming up. In November, we'll be in Missouri. We already have things booked, obviously for next year. March, we'll be in Arizona for about 2.5 weeks. Arizona, New Mexico. We don't know from one day to the next, honestly. I try to keep things scheduled, but we're getting new things all the time. So just kind of look for us, and we are on Facebook. It's Tammy, middle initial C, and then Bogle, B as in boy, O-G-L-E. You can find me on Facebook. You can email me at tammycbogle at gmail.com. So we're out there, and if you want to know if we're going to come into your area, just email me or message me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to get in contact with anyone. And we do, we're always looking for churches and events to minister at. So,
where can people pick up your music at?
You can go to iTunes.com. My boys informed me that you can actually go to the Google Play Store, which was kind of shocking, but why they would put me on there. But anyway, so you can go to Google Play Store. You can download. You can go to Amazon.com, and I actually have a book that I wrote. It's about my life, and you can go on there, and it's called From the Pit to the Palace, and you can download that, and then or buy it, whatever, and then you can get a 99-cent download from Kindle for that, and then my music is on there as well. You can also go to CD Baby and get my music.
Okay. What's the book from the Pits to the Power? What is that book about?
It's From the Pit to the Palace.
Oh, to the Palace. I thought you said Power. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, my accent.
It's not your accent. It's my hearing. I'm getting old. Or getting.
Oh, is that what it is?
Old.
Okay. Well, that was a nice cover-up. Thank you. But anyway, it's my life story. It's kind of a life from tragedy to triumph. The end goal is heaven, which is paradise, which is the palace. But that's the road I'm on now, and I wasn't always on that road. I've been through a lot of abuse. I went through losing a child. I went through being a manic depressive. Just went through, tried to take my life several times because I just had no hope. And if I can tell anybody out there, if you hear anything at all that I've said, in all seriousness, that there is never a reason to get to that point of where you've given up and you just want it all to end. There's never, ever a reason. I don't care how bad it gets. I know I've been there, but Jesus is standing right there, and he is the one that can change things in your life and give you that hope. And, at the time I knew that, but I had been told that I was so pathetic that God didn't even love me. And so I believed all those lies that Satan told me. And I got pulled into that mindset. And so I felt like everybody was better off without me because I was a mistake. And let me tell y'all something out there. God don't make mistakes. He makes masterpieces. God don't make junk. He makes jewels. And so I don't care what anybody has said about you because they've said it all about me. And I don't care, what you think about yourself. What God says about you is what counts. And he said that you were special and you're beautiful inside and out because we were all made in his image. Whether we know him as our personal Lord and Savior or not, we were all made in his image. And he is beautiful and he is perfect. And we have flaws, but God doesn't see those. He doesn't see the imperfections.
Now, when you were talking about all that, it sounds like you were talking about a marriage that you were in or somebody, your ex dragging you down. Is that what you were talking about when you were?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that song "Broken Wing" by Martina McBride.
Yeah.
That was me. I mean, I was. Well, literally, there was physical abuse, but I was beat up and beat down, and told that I was worthless, and told that I was nothing. I'd never be anything. I never deserved anything. And when I sang, I made people sick, and so that's why that part of me died, and I stopped singing, and I was just a mess. I was just a broken up, beaten up mess.
Yeah. Now, to these young women that are going through that, because I do, I'm a writer and not a songwriter. I just write articles and stuff. But I've interviewed so many women that get stuck in that trap. How do you tell them to get out? Because some of these women that I talk to is repetitive. They're back in it. They're back in it. They're back in it. Oh, he beats me, but because he loves me, and that kind of crap. What's the biggest thing you can tell them in order to get out of that? To get their life. Because I've talked to a few. Some of them have actually gone on and committed suicide, and then there's other ones that seems to be the biggest factor. And being somebody that's gone through that and has gotten back to where you're at now, what's the biggest thing you can tell them, or biggest piece of advice?
Well, first, let me say that I had the exact same mindset, and I was the one that kept going back. And I've had all these people say, that is so stupid. Why in the world would you go back to somebody that beat you up and talked down to you and was ugly and, and was verbally abusive and mentally abusive and controlling? And why would you go back to that? Because when you have been in that pit for so long, you absolutely become a part of everything that's being said about you. You believe every single thing that is said about you, and you're sucked into that mindset, and it's like a mind control, and they know that. And the more they put you down, the more you begin to feel like you deserve to be put down. And so, all of you women out there that are feeling like you're trapped, I was there, and you don't know how to get out. And honestly, I prayed a prayer, and I mean, I know it sounds so cliche, but, I didn't get professional help. I got God's help. And I was in a point one night where it got so bad that I was done. I had to be done. And because then, it went off on my son. And so when that happened, it was just like, finally, I didn't stand up for myself all that time. I stood up for him. And so when that happened, it was just like something in me snapped. And I was like, you know what? I don't care what you do to me, but children are different. And if you have children in those situations, you have got to protect them. And I understand about being so afraid, for your life and being afraid for, to be put out or whatever. But I promise you, if you will call on God, he will be right there for you. I can't give you any professional advice. I can give you some advice from somebody that's been there. And you have got to start looking at yourself not as a victim, but as a victor. And you have got to realize that you are not all those horrible things that they've said you are. And that you don't deserve to be hit. You don't deserve to be talked down to. You don't deserve to be mistreated. That you are beautiful inside and out. And that you have got a right to be happy. And you have got a right to have, integrity and to feel like you are somebody. You have got a right to feel that way. God didn't design us to be punching bags.
Exactly.
And, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't understand that. And they think, oh, well, you're weaker, so you can take it, and you need to take it because I've got to take my frustrations out on somebody. And unfortunately, there's a lot of males with tails walking around.
Yep.
And they're not men. And, the only thing I can tell you is that, I said a prayer every single night for 8 years. And it was one of three things. And I said, Lord, change me so that I can accept what I'm having to live in, so that I can deal with this, so that I can endure this. Change him so that he'll see what he's doing is wrong. And he'll see that he needs to change his life, and he needs to turn his life over to you or get me out. I prayed those three things every single night before I'd cry myself to sleep. And there was one night it just kind of came to a head, and he called me later, and he was at a bar, and I told him, I said, I'm done. I want you to know I'm done. And God gave me the strength that I needed to be able to say, it's over. I'm done. What just took place, that's it. That's the last time. And you've got to get to the point of where you've got to realize that, and I understand there's bad situations to where it's like, and they threaten your life and things like that more viciously than what even I went through. But you still have got to see yourself as something more than what you've been beat up and been told that you are. If you don't see yourself differently, then how are you ever going to be able to take a stand and get out of your situation? And exactly. I'm not saying it's easy. And I mean, there's bad situations to where, there is help for you. Fortunately, God pulled me out, and I was able to allow God to take over and fix the situation. He left. And so when he did, that gave me my out. And that's when I was like, okay, this is it. You're not coming back, changing the locks, whatever it takes, it's done. And so God gave me the strength, and God will give you ladies the strength that you need. All you have to do, and if you don't know Jesus, please call me. Please, or please get on Facebook and message me. I want to hear from you. I will help lead you to Christ. And I mean, that's the first thing that you've got to do, is you've got to turn it all over to Jesus. And if you don't know who Jesus is, I will be glad to introduce you. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be alive. So many times I wouldn't be alive. And it's because of him that I'm free. I can truly say that I'm free. And I'm free from all the mental anguish and the verbal anguish and all those scars that people don't see. Those are the ones that are hardest to remove. Yep. Because they're seared into your heart. They're seared into your soul. And it took the Lord to just absolutely clean me out and to heal me and set me free.
I'm going to get with my program manager and have her, I want to talk to you off the line and get you back on here because we ran out of time. And I want to get you back on another night to talk about that as well, if you don't mind, because I think that's a topic that really needs to be covered, is the abuse of women and stuff. I work with a few women's battered shelters and stuff. I'd really love to get you back on here and talk about that. Now, before we close out, tell everybody where they can get your music at one more time.
Okay, you can go to iTunes.com, Amazon.com for music and my book. You can go to CD Baby, and I understand Google Play Store. So those are some of the places. You can also contact me, and I can, I'll be glad to. My CDs are just $10, just a $10 donation to the ministry. And, I'll be happy to get you a CD. Just, Facebook message me, or I can give you the address, whatever.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Miss Tammy. And we love your music, and it's one of those, you're one of those singers where you don't go to sleep or feel like you're in a boring church. And I hate to say it that way, but, it's reality. Your music is not like where you're listening to a bunch of old fogies get up there. And I've heard some people say, well, that's not gospel music, that's country music. Well, you found a way to incorporate both in there. And I thank you very much for letting us share your music with the world. And thank you very much for having me on. And God bless each and every one of you. And everybody, just remember that Jesus does love you. And if you have any questions, please get a hold of me on Facebook. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Okay. All right. Well, you have a good evening, sweetheart. And tell your husband and your children, said thank you for allowing you to come on, and for being, and especially your husband, tell him thanks for being a great man and standing behind you, because those are few and far between, it seems like, anymore.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, God bless y'all.
All right. Well, you have a good evening. Thank you.
All right. You too.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
That was Tammy Bogle. We've got to knock out a couple of commercials here real quick. So we've got Rick Surrency still going to be on there. Okay. Cool beans. I like Rick. I don't want him to hear that, though.
It's going to take just a minute after the commercials to get him on. So, Rick, if you're listening, it'll be as soon as the commercials get over, you'll see the call coming in. Okay.
First up, I met this guy today. I'm going to get in more to him, talking about Tom when we get when we get done with Rick Surrency's, if we have enough time. If not, I'll bring him up on Wednesday night. But Tom's AC and Heating Incorporated. Tom is out of Interlaken, and he services all over. Tom is also a firefighter and a hell of a nice guy. But he has 24-hour-a-day service, free estimates. And if you guys call in, I've got to get everything. Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce, not Tom. I'm sitting here looking at the ad. It's Bruce. Sorry about that, Bruce. I know he's listening. But Bruce is a hell of a nice guy. He does sales, the installation, the service, the maintenance, everything on it. Like I say, I'm going to get in more talking about Bruce and my meeting with him today. But you guys, you need something done on your AC, he's the guy to call. I'm telling you right now. Okay. We're running a little bit behind, so I've got to scoot through these. Animal Health Care Center. That is in East Palatka, guys. Dr. Nagy and Dr. Smith. They do dental x-ray, spaying, neutering, dental cleaning, boarding, and small animal orthopedics. They also, something very important right now, is the low-cost vaccines. Everybody should get their animals vaccinated. Rabies, whatever it is. Parvo, stemper, or distemper, and all that. They are open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Tuesdays and Thursday, it is by appointment only, and that's only from 5 to 7 p.m. And on Saturdays from 8 to noon, they are closed on Sundays. Hair by Barbie. You guys, ladies, want to get your hair done? She does a kick butt job. She does all the highlights, what's that other thing called? Brazilian cut? Yeah, Brazilian cut. And guys. Brazilian blowout. Okay. Cut, blowout. What's the difference between a blowout and a cut?
A cut is a trim. A Brazilian blowout is where they strip your hair of all the oils, and then they try to make the shiny, see all that shiny stuff going on? But it strips your hair of everything. I wouldn't recommend it. I had it done. It's not worth it.
Oh, Barbie's going to kick your butt. I don't know. You think I could get my hair looking shiny? Get her to color it? Yeah. Make it get blonde?
If you got short hair, it's not so bad. But if you got long hair, it'll make your hair turn into a rat's nest. Because it strips all oils.
But she's at in St. Augustine.
Get your highlights and lowlights.
Yeah, she's in, actually, has 2 locations. In St. Augustine at 440 CBL Drive, Unit 108. And that is in St. Augustine, and then at 916 St. John's Avenue in Palatka, Florida. But you can call Barbie, and she is by appointment only. Go back and look at the phone number, 904-501-9542. By appointment only. If you show up there, you're not going to get your hair done. Got cars, Community Auto Repair Specialists. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., closed Saturdays and Sundays. I say it every week because they have a new baby. And it's tough to do. I know Tracy's probably going nuts right now because at the age that little baby's at, they don't quit crying for some reason. But they have three locations on Krill Avenue at 3520. That looks like a big red barn. It's also a car lot in front there. So, and then they have one in Green Cove Springs that is also called Community Auto Repair Specialist or Cars. The one in Gainesville, somebody called me the other day, wanted to go by there. They said they couldn't find it. It's because the name of that one is Advanced Auto Care. And they are at 3820 Southwest Archer Road in Gainesville. Oh, you can go back and look at the numbers on there if you get stuck there, usually around 8 o'clock, between 8 and 8:10 when the ads runs. We'll do that one last. Let's see if we can get Rick on the air.
Rick's actually waiting for the call if you want to go ahead and send it through. You guys bear with us just 1 minute. We're pulling up Rick Surrency. He's waiting for us. And there he is. Good evening.
There he
Mr.
is.
Hey, Travis.
How you doing, Mr. Rick? Hey.
Coming up. Can you help me out
Can you hear
here?
us? Can you hear us?
Travis, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us now?
Yep. Yes, we can.
Yeah, we're checking.
There we go.
There we go.
You're probably like me, Rick. I don't know the difference on anything I'm doing in here. I see your IT person there.
Yeah, Kyle's one of our IT guys. He came in to make sure we could get on tonight. So how you doing, Travis?
Oh, if I was any better, it'd be you, sir. Now, we've never, just so people know, because people are saying, oh, you're always promoting Rick. You guys were your best friends. I've never met you. I've never shaken your hand in person. The only thing I've seen is what you do. And I call an ace a ace, a spade, orange tree, whatever you want, however you want to say it. I have been following your stuff since you got elected into office. And I thank you very much for what you've been doing for the kids.
Thanks, Travis.
Now, you've taken quite a bit of abuse, not only from the public, but from couple of the board members and stuff. This has probably got to be the roughest pay for the littlest job you could have ever picked. Why did you ever pick to be a school board superintendent?
Well, I've been in education now. It's my 40th year, and it's all about helping kids and just doing what we can to make life better. I mean, I've got kids and grandkids in the system, and it's really not about me. It's about making life better for our next generation. So I really feel it's a calling, and I feel like what we do now is going to pay dividends for generations. So it's really not about me. It's about serving our community.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people are confused about the Guardian program. I mean, and if you watch the school board meetings, it even throws a little bit more confusion into it. And when you hear Sheriff Deloach talk about it, yourself talk about it, school board members, can you fill us in on where this thing is going now? Yeah, and I actually saw Joe Wells on your program earlier, and he gave a very good description of it. But we have guardians in all of our schools. We have school resource officers assigned to our middle and high schools. And as you know, the school board approved our guardian program back in June after much discussion. And we're off and going. And our schools are safer than they've ever been. And I just want to reassure parents, we have people in place to protect their kids. Yeah, I've had a few calls, and I'm not trying to put you in the hot seat. I usually like to do that like I did Joe when he's in there. Actually, I like Joe. I've never seen Joe smile. He's like the Jim Cantrell of, Jim Cantrell shows up from the Weather Channel. You better not be standing there. When Joe shows up at a place, it's usually bad news. So I had a lot of people say that that's the first time they've ever seen a guy smile, and, they have a complete different outlook on it. That's what I want people to see with you guys, because normally when they see you up there and it's all seriousness and everything else, which it has to be, but what are some of the changes that have been made since you've been in? As far as security or just overall? Well, yeah, the security is one. I know we have the Guardian program. Well, I know Joe referenced the new law, Senate Bill 7026. And it basically talked about three things. It talked about having and Joe already alluded to having the different types of law enforcement or guardians in the schools. That's one part of it. The other part was providing a mental health plan. And the third part was hardening of schools, making sure our facilities were improved to the point where we could ensure the safety of our kids. So we're in the process of, we've hired new mental health counselors who are in place across our county. And the purpose of the mental health counselors are to identify children who have had issues or have had something happen to them, where these are kids who may, if not addressed, may have issues and may, reach out or try to hurt others. So we want to make sure we provide services for those kids now, so it doesn't get to like it did with the child at Parkland. The other thing we're doing, the school hardening, is the state has provided money so we could improve our facilities, like make single entry points for all of our schools. So there's only one place in, one place out, so we could better manage that. Things like buzzers where we can buzz people in, additional cameras, anything that school needs to make sure their facility is secure. Now, how long does it usually take those programs to get enacted and to go through to where, you're talking about the cameras for those to get, because I've got somebody asking how long it takes before the cameras are going to be in and stuff like that. Well, we have, every school basically has cameras in place now. We started putting cameras in schools back 20 years ago when I was a school administrator. But now we are just adding cameras. I mean, you can never have enough cameras in your school. So we're adding cameras in specific locations, in hallways, in student gathering areas. We're just adding additional cameras just to have that extra layer of protection. So we already have them in place. We're just adding more to it. All right. Somebody wrote in and asked, are these cameras go to a central hub, or are they monitored at the schools, or do they monitor it at the school board and or the sheriff's office?
Well, some of all that. I mean, each of our schools have a hub. They have a place where they actually monitor those cameras. Of course, those cameras are recording as well. But we have, offices where they'll have a monitor set up where they can monitor those cameras. Might have multiple locations where those cameras are monitored. And also, those cameras can be seen by outside entities if necessary. I mean, certain security personnel, again, not to disclose any information, but, we have other people who can access those cameras if necessary.
Yeah, somebody, I get a kick out of these people. I don't know how many times somebody has written in about how many people are at each school, who are they? It sounds like one of the school board meetings. The purpose of this thing, ladies and gentlemen, is so that you don't know, so that the criminals don't know. So I'm not even going to have them answer. That one's a stupid question. Go back to watching Barney Fife or something. Now, that's the one thing that I did see since they wrote that in. And actually, that's not a stupid question. I know that person, and I'm ragging on them right now. The whole purpose of that thing was that so people don't know. Correct? Exactly,
and that's a very well kept secret. And we've told guardians if you're going to be in this program, of course, the training, as Joe mentioned, is very extensive, very demanding, but the degree of secrecy is very high. And I've told them that they will not be in a program if they disclose that they are a guardian, because it could compromise their safety. So we want to make sure that is a well-kept secret.
Yeah. Now, people say that, you always hear the same, that we didn't think it was going to happen at this, in our county or in our neighborhood. But just recently, right across the county lines on both sides, even as of last week and a week before last, we had that stuff go on. So.
Yeah, you're referring to what happened in Jacksonville this past weekend?
Well, not just Jacksonville, but, the girl that was over in, I believe it was St. Augustine.
There was one in Flagler Beach that had happened, and there was one in Ocala.
Yeah, Flagler and Ocala.
Last week that was found with a gun.
Right. It's very real. I mean, God forbid it would ever happen here, but we're being irresponsible if we don't take every step to prepare our schools for that. And as prevalent as it is now, it could happen here at any time. So, we're not going to stick our head in the sand. We're very aware it could happen at any time, anywhere.
Yeah. I had somebody write in and ask about, and I know that I've seen this for a few years now, the buses on the drivers and stuff, and always needing buses, and they said their kids' buses are overcrowded. I know that at the beginning of the year, a lot of people don't even think about it, but they don't get in there and register their kids. They don't sign them up. They just show up at school that day, or they show up at the bus stop. So I've tried to write articles on it in the past to let people know that, the first couple of weeks. Now, are you guys still looking for bus drivers, and how do people get to qualify and go become a bus driver?
Well, they can go to our website. We have a place where they can apply online to be a bus driver, and it is a process. I mean, you can't apply today and start driving tomorrow. Obviously, it is a process. So we just need to get people in the pipeline. But yeah, we are short bus drivers, and it's a demanding job. But sometimes, we have to make sure the buses run. So sometimes we've had drivers run multiple routes, and we just have to do what we have to do to get kids to and from school. But we're definitely looking for drivers and substitute drivers and that type of thing. So definitely contact our office, and we will definitely discuss the opportunities with you.
Yeah, somebody's interested and said they can pass a background check, but do the bus drivers pack heat? Like you're not. Well, the whole thing is they're not supposed to know.
Right? Can't say. Can't say.
Yeah. Okay. I tell you what, some of these people, they never cease to amaze me on some of the questions they've got. Now,
that's okay.
Like I say, we've never you and I have never met. I've never shook hands. Hopefully we'll go out to lunch one day, but I know
I
how
look forward to it.
busy you are and stuff. What's coming up for the schools as far as any things you guys have coming up where you've got, I know that in the past there was some things where they had like the arts, performing arts. They had, musicals coming up and stuff like that. Are they trying to get that into all the schools, or like a drama programs? Because one of the people that wrote in said her daughter wants to become an actress, but Crescent City High School doesn't have like a performing arts program. Will there anything be coming in the future like they have for Palatka and doing plays and stuff?
Yeah, good question. We actually have a performing arts program here in Palatka. It is a county-wide program, and I don't want people to think it's just for the students of Palatka High. It is open for students who live in Crescent City and Interlaken. And so Mr. Pignato, who's our musical theater instructor, posts, I think he has a Facebook page, and he posts tryouts and that type of thing. I know they're having a fall production, and I believe another one at Christmas time, and then another one in the spring. So there are opportunities if people want to audition for these parts. There are opportunities here in Palatka. And I know each individual school may have their own program, but the one that has been the most active has been the Palatka High Musical Theater Department, but it does include students from all over the county.
Yeah, I saw last year. I actually went to the one with Mary Poppins, and not last year, year before last, I believe. The older I get, the more I forget when it was last year or the year before. But those kids did a great job.
Because actually, the lead actor was my son.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, the guy that played Bert.
Okay.
That walked on the ceiling. That was my son. So I saw that show so many times I could memorize all the parts.
I only got to see it once.
Yeah.
Now, how do you deal with, I have 7 kids and 9 grandkids, and I joke with them all the time. I love my kids to death. But it's not just how do you deal with the kids, but how do you deal with all the parents? Because I know just from and we have close to 1 million people a week that read the Putnam Way, from all over. So I get to go through the emails, like crazy. And I'll call you up, and we've had several conversations about, well, what about this? I know a lot you can't tell me on because it has to remain confidential because of the kids. How do you handle the parents that call up? Because everybody's little darling is innocent. You and I both know that, and the parents know it. There's no bad kids. How do you handle the all these calls and the parents and stuff that call in? That's got to be, just a nightmare.
Travis, being a parent and a grandparent like you are, you have to have a certain amount of empathy and understand that when people call, they're calling about their most precious possession, and that's their students. They're not calling just to be difficult or to be mean or anything. They're calling because something is going on with their child. So I try to look at it as a problem-solving exercise, and like, hey, I'm a parent. I empathize with you. Let's work together and see what we can do to resolve the problem. It's not me against them. It's us trying to solve a problem. And I think parents recognize that. And, I think we've had a good relationships with our parents because they know that I try to instill in all of our administrators that we're here to serve parents. We're not here to, to battle them. And sometimes we can't satisfy all of our parents, but, just being empathetic and trying to help them resolve their issues. And I think the parents respond to that.
Yeah, one of our artists wrote in. His name is Calvin O. He's actually going to be doing the awards ceremonies up in Nashville. He said he wanted to invite you out. He wants to shake your hand, I guess, for putting up with everything you have to put up with. But he said, we've got a concert coming up. I'm going to announce it here pretty soon. And this guy said he would even be willing to come out and do some of the halftime football games.
Oh, that's great. Have him contact me. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I was trying to read some of the other questions here. Let me skim through them real quick. One lady wrote in and said since you've been in office that she's noticed a big difference, especially since the schools have gone up in grade points.
Right.
So tell us about that, where we were sitting at when you got in office. And I know they've come up. I'm not going to speak for you, so.
Yeah, I appreciate her asking that. That's the thing I'm most proud of. You know, Putnam County's had a bad rap, you know, being last in the state in everything, including how well our schools have been. And in the past, we always hear about Putnam County as the poorest county. Well, I'm here to tell you we're actually moving in a very positive direction now. When I ran for office, my campaign vision, if you will, was to go from the bottom of the state compared to all the other districts to the upper one half. And we were well on our way. I mean, we were ranked 65th as far as student achievement out of 67 districts when I came in. And this past year, we were ranked number 58. And we've gone up 5 percentage points this past year and 5 percentage points the previous year in our district grade. So we just have a lot of people that are doing great things. I think we expect people to do well, and you know, when you expect people to be successful, they'll do it. They'll live up to expectations. But we had 9 schools that actually improved their school grade out of our 18 schools, and that's something to be very proud of. And the other thing I want to really give a shout out to our district is our graduation rate. That's the one metric that our community looks at to see how well our district is doing. And we've gone from a 54% graduation rate in 2015 to this year, we're projected to be over 80%. And, you know, when businesses want to move to Putnam County, people want to move their families here, that's the number one thing they look at is our graduation rate. So that is continuing to grow, and I'm really excited about what our people are doing, because kids now have an opportunity to go to college, to get high-paying jobs, but they have to have that high school diploma to do so.
And I've noticed that, and you know, in previous years, they didn't really have any programs. I'm not saying this is a while back, but you guys have implemented some programs for nursing, for welding, like at Crescent City. I know they have was it a 2-year program? Right. Where the kids can get certified in nursing and all this. Tell us some about that stuff.
Yeah, we have a big push for our career and technical education. You mentioned the nursing, the welding. A new one that we've just started is called our advanced manufacturing. And that's a partnership between us and Georgia Pacific. And they have contributed financially to help us to get this program started. And basically, these students who are in this program can earn an industry certification and can actually get a job with Georgia Pacific, a very high-paying job with that certification. You know, you've heard of the millwrights who work at the mill, you know, who run the machines. Well, this advanced manufacturing certification, not only can they run the machines, they can actually repair the machines or diagnose a problem when it happens. So it's a very highly technical position. So we're preparing these students for very high-paying jobs in an area where there's a big demand. GP has told us over the next several years, with people retiring, they're looking at probably 300 job openings, you know, and we intend to fill those jobs using our students here in our county.
Yeah, and I met one kid that had taken the welding class a couple years ago. He graduated, and today he's working at he wanted me to mention it and tell his teacher and Steve Cummings that he said thanks for putting his foot in his butt, that he got a job up at the shipyards up in Jacksonville, welding and stuff.
That's great. Steve Cummings is a great guy down at Crescent City High School, so he's a great motivator.
You know, I've been around for a lot of years. Steve Cummings is one of the few people that I've never heard any student say anything bad about him. They all seem to love him. My daughter's graduated a couple years now and gone on she's going to school in Daytona and stuff, and she's like, Steve's like my stepdad, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So,
well, these kids would do anything in the world for Steve. He's just a lover of kids, and you know, we have a lot of people in our district like Steve, And that's what makes our district roll, is so many teachers who pour so much into our kids.
Yeah. And I can't say I was surprised. I've called a lot of the government officials and stuff, and some of them call me, and when I say, well, I have artists that I interview, and this radio station, I do it to promote artists where they can't get, it costs them $250,000 to get on the air, and I use it to promote different things, and a lot of them, as soon as they hear it, 7:30 at night, I gotta be home, I gotta have that beer in me, so I want to thank you for coming on here and bearing with me for a little bit, this late at night. I know you've had a hard day, and I believe you had a meeting today as well, just a little while ago.
I have meetings all day long, but that's okay. Glad to be here.
Now, are you in the election process this term? Or?
No, I'm not up until 2020.
2020. Well,
right.
Good. You'll have to let me get with me before you get, because I'll definitely endorse you, and I don't do that. I just don't endorse candidate. April Iser, I endorse her. But they, no, I'm not even going to ask that one. I'll save that one to ask you in private later on. That was something to do with the whole Nikki Cummings thing, and I'm not going to get into that. You're not an attorney, and that's just a whole different ball thing. I don't want to drag you into that crap. You've already been through enough garbage. The one thing that I have noticed is you got rid of some people and you shifted some people around to make the schools better. And the other, I noticed that there was a shift in some powers from one school to the next. And it seems like you've gone in and you moved people that you thought were over here, well, you'll be better over here. As a matter of fact, one of the teachers that I talked to said she was so glad that you guys did that it's made the schools completely, turn around. And the other thing that I had in my notes here is that a few of the teachers that I've talked to, because I get calls from teachers and stuff, as well, when I call them up and say, okay, somebody said you were, mean to one of the students, or I'll talk to them. I was looking at my notes here, but the changes that you made, a lot of these teachers say that unlike past administrations, they've seen you actually come out to the schools and get involved.
Yeah, that's important to be visible, and that's a big challenge for me to get out of the office and get to the schools. But to be effective, we really need to see what's going on at the school level. But the people we have running our schools, our school principals and assistant principals, we've made a few changes over the last 2 years, and these are people who I feel are in the best position to make these schools successful, and I hold them accountable, and I tell them, hey, if you can't get it done, then you're on a 1-year contract, and we'll put somebody in your place. But I don't do that to be threatening or anything else to principals. We just have a lot of high expectations for our principals, but by the same token, we give them a lot of flexibility to run schools the way they see fit, and we support them, but we don't micromanage them. And that's why our schools are doing as well as they're doing, because, we set goals for our principals. We give them the what, but we let the principals decide how they're going to get there. So I think, people appreciate that flexibility, and they're professionals, and they know there are things expected of them. So that's why we have put people in certain places where they can set these schools up for success. So we're trying to leave people in place, trying to sustain that success. We don't want to start shuffling people around if we don't need to. So we've made a few changes, but I hope to, have people settle in and do the best job they can.
Somebody wrote in and said, you ought to hire me to teach broadcasting. No, I'm not a teacher. Don't want to be. Somebody else had written in about the 5% isn't a whole lot. That is a whole lot. I mean, I know what they're talking about.
5 percentage points. 5 percentage points. So as far as an entire district, if we can move our district 5 more percentage points this year, we'll actually make history. I don't believe there's any districts that have moved that much in 3 years' time. So we told our principals we want them to find 5 more percentage points this year in their schools.
Yeah, now that's phenomenal for the people that don't know. That 5% is a lot. I mean, I've seen other counties that have gone down 5%, and they go in there and pretty much change everybody and fire everybody.
Well, we're 2 points away from being a B school district. We're a C now. A B school district would put us in a place we haven't been in a long, long time, if ever. So we can make history this year by how well our schools do. And I'm not taking that for granted. We have a lot of hard work to do, but, I think we believe that we can do it. And that's one thing that we've done is just help people, empower them to really take advantage of the talent they have.
Now, when the points come up, are you entitled to more state funding, or is that something?
No, not really. I mean, if schools, we do have individual schools, when they improve, they are eligible for incentive funding, if you will, school success money. But as a district, we don't really receive any extra funding. But what a school district can do for its community is when we have good quality schools, successful schools, that builds pride in our community. People want to work with our schools. People want to come to our community and live here, do business here. They want to bring their kids here. But schools who are failing, who are not educating kids, who wants to put their children in those kind of schools? So by turning our schools around, we're creating not only a successful school district, but a successful community.
All right. Somebody had written in, and this is the same woman who calls me all the time complaining about stuff. And she's saying, well, blah, 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 blah. This woman has contacted me in the past talking about, well, what's this teacher's doing for this? What's the teacher's doing for that? Yet you guys have a volunteer program that people can get in. And one thing that I've seen over the years, unlike when I was a kid, if I screwed up, my mom would have me down at the school and would whip my butt right in the classroom. And at PTA meetings, they never missed them. Over the years, I've noticed that the parents don't show up for the PTA meetings or anything else. How do we get these parents more involved with the kids and more involved with the students? And do they have a volunteer program for the parents is one of the questions.
Yes, we do. We do have a volunteer program. You can contact your local school, and they'll give you instructions on how to do that. But, Travis, the best way that parents can get involved, we always think about parents need to be in the school and be in the school. Just asking your kid, your student, about what they're doing at school and get involved when they come home. Just ask them, what are you studying today? What have you learned today? Just that kind of involvement is tremendous. Can show students that their parents actually care about what they're learning in school. The other way they can get involved, we have a parent portal. They can actually get credentials and log in, and you can see what your child is doing on a day-to-day basis as far as their grades and their attendance. So that's the way they can get involved, just by being on a computer. But we certainly welcome parents who want to come to the school, who want to be involved in the PTA, visit their classrooms, eat lunch with them. We welcome that. And but a lot of parents, because of their occupations, are not able to do that. But just having that conversation with your kids when they come home, making sure they get plenty of rest at night. I can't say enough about that. That's what my parents did, is they constantly went to my events when I was in school, my athletic events. They were asking questions about my homework. If I didn't do well, they wanted to meet with the teacher. There's different degrees of parent involvement. So, number one thing, just talk to your student about what's going on in school.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the parent portal, because I had a lady tell me the other day, I was down at the Satsuma produce stand, and this lady said, well, I don't ever know what my kid's doing in school. And I said, do you ever go on the parent portal? And she's like, a what? And I said, let me guess. Your kids didn't tell you could go on the parent portal. No, what is that, So the parent portal is a site that you can you can log into online.
Right.
And you can see, you know what, for 2 years, I love my kids to death, and both my kids were straight A students. They never told me about the parent portal. Matter of fact, when they come home with those little booklets, you know, they're hiding them. None of the kids want their parents to see that, but you guys go on there and look and see, and what he's talking about is absolutely correct. You can see what your child's doing, if not every day, at least every other day. I know some of the students that are coaches, or some of the coaches and staff that are teachers have other things after school that they do, so they can't always get them logged on there the same day, but they do keep up with it. But I want to thank you, Mr. Surrency. We're running out of time here. I got to get to some other stuff. And I do plan on meeting you and shaking your hand. And for you guys that, no, this is the first time I've ever talked to him face to face. It's only been a couple times on the phone. So, but thank you, Mr. Rick. I do. And all honestly, I take my hat off to you for the changes that you made. And I think you know me well enough from the conversations. I'm not going to try to pee down anybody's back and try to convince them it's raining. If I had a problem with you, I would be the first one to tell you. And if I had a problem with anybody, my listeners and readers know. But to say that you're a great guy is probably not. And for what you've done to the kids, and I have noticed it, and I think a lot of it. So I thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Travis. And I just want to urge everybody to look at our Facebook page. We try to push out a lot of that information and just make comments on there. I read every comment they put on there. So, but thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it, Travis, and look forward to meeting you sometime.
All right, we'll get together in the next month, and I'll get Calvin over, and we'll try to get it lined up where you can come out to this concert that we're going to be putting on to benefit Putnam County.
We'd love to do so. Thanks, Travis.
All right, Mr. Rick, you have a good evening, sir, and thank you very much for coming on the air with us.
You too. Good night.
All right, good night. And that was the first time I've ever met Mr. Surrency.
Great man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a hell of a guy.
I enjoyed listening to that interview.
I'll vote for him in 2020.
Hey, I posted all the links that he was talking about on the YouTube, so if anybody's interested in the parent portal, it is on there. And the Facebook page link is on the YouTube site, so if you want to look in the chat, you'll find those links.
Yeah, you know, the one thing that a lot of you guys don't understand, and you want everything to go quick in the world, and, you know, everything is moving so fast these days, technology and everything else. The school system and Mr. Surrency can't go in and change everything in a short amount of time that he's been in office. You know, he's been in office just a little over a year. He cannot change all the things that have been screwed up over the past years. So for you people that have something bad to say, cut the guy some slack. Like I say, I'm not kissing his butt because I don't know the man, but I can tell you that I see the progress that's been made. I see a lot of the changes that he's made. A lot of you guys have called in and written in and told me the changes that you've seen in the system. So instead of bitching and complaining and moaning and groaning, once you guys try standing behind the man, you know, you can push somebody a lot easier if the wheels on the wagon are nice and greased and they're moving along. But you get in front and start throwing mud and stuff, you're never going to get that wagon to move forward.
And I think he had a little bit of a mud to fight there.
Yeah, you think? Good God. Hey, Calvin, I see you listening.
Yeah, we got a shout out. I promised him. Hey, Calvin.
We're going to be having Calvin back in the studio here real soon, and I did talk with one of the county officials today, and I did talk to him about that, Calvin, about maybe doing something, exactly what I told you. I got to keep this thing secret for a little bit, just a little bit longer, but they seem to be all for it. And I want to get you over here so that the community can meet you, and thank you for doing and taking a cut and pay to do it to help the people out in this community. Somebody let my chair down.
I don't let it down.
I'm just messing with you.
They're messing with me. They come in here and push the piston down in my chair, and I feel like a little dwarf.
I can easily just.
It wasn't you. It was
right now.
that was Marie. No, don't mess with my chair. Leave it. Yeah, but you guys cut Mr. Surrency a break here and let
I think
him.
he's done an amazing job. I mean, I remember the school system 3 years ago. It was unbelievable, and just the last year, I mean, the changes have been incredible. You can't believe what's going on, but a lot of parents don't see the changes. So you guys, you know.
Well, it's hard to see when, you know, and I get aggravated sometimes too, but, you know, everybody's child is their little darling, and I understand that. But you guys cut that man a break. Let him do his job. He's doing a kick butt job. For you people that know me, if there was something to rag on him about, I'd damn sure be doing it. I'd be all over him.
Yes, you would.
But so far, I haven't found anything to rag on him about.
No.
And for you guys with the bus issues, you know, school hasn't been in session that long. They're still trying to get a lot of the kinks worked out. Quit complaining. If you've got, you know, and for you people that complain about, I don't have a job, I don't have a job.
Yeah, I was going to say they need some bus drivers.
If you're not a crackhead, drug addict, and your past is pretty decent, you should go down there and apply. You make a check. I think you only work a few hours a day. And go drive some of these kids around, you know, and then go back and complain. I wouldn't do it. There is no way. I love your little darlings, and I'll do anything that can to help them out, but I am not going to babysit them, and it takes a lot to be a teacher, and we have a lot of great teachers in this county.
Amen.
Like I say, Mr. Steve Cummings, you know, you got Sean Delaney and them over there, Mr. and Miss Delaney, Rose Delaney. All these are great teachers that I met in the past, so I don't know how in the heck they do it. Okay.
You got Calvin over here. You see what he's saying?
What's he saying?
For those of you that don't know, we were Calvin had come in the studio and we did some pictures with Calvin, and we were trying to kind of slim the bodies down just for a fun thing, practicing an app that we had put on the phone for working with some things. And we got to the breast one, and it was like, oh, this is going to be fun. So we did the breast enhancement, and it blew up their heads. So Calvin wrote in and said he's going to pay me back.
Yeah, we don't have the pictures, do we?
No, I don't know. That was too much fun.
Yeah,
I had to send them, though. So.
Why don't we put those pictures up and get them up for on the air Wednesday night?
Yeah, no offense, but I mean, if it made you guys' head look like that, I can only imagine what it's going to do if I put a picture on. I mean, wow, I could be proud.
I mean, my head was that
was
stinking
huge.
big around, and my body's like that big around.
Huge.
It looked like it.
Wouldn't that just mean there are a couple of boobs?
Yeah, there are literally a couple boobs in that picture.
I look like
and then you got one that looks like Santa Claus, and we put a beard on Travis. So we were just practicing with the app, but it was too much fun when we got there.
Yeah, but you made him look like a lovable character, like Santa Claus. You know, nobody's going to rag on Santa Claus. Santa Claus is the good guy. You made me look like the freaking Taliban with a beard. You know, and here you make Calvin look good. I'm going to flip that thing around here. Good Lord.
And you wonder why I'm not on the camera. I'm hiding. Pay no attention to the woman behind the camera.
Take that file.
Behind the microphone. Okay, so we got some ads to get done. What do we got going on tonight?
We got the stand coming up.
So.
I didn't get to stop in there and rag on Andrea today, so, which stinks. But the stand in East Palatka. You guys want some great produce? Look at the produce in those pictures. Those apples are red. They're juicy. I cut one. If you go there and get tomatoes, I'm going to tell you right now, do not cut them on a cutting board. I did that this afternoon. Last night, I was going to make me a BLT. I cut the thing on the cutting board. The stinking thing was so juicy, it ran all over the cutting board, all over the counter.
Yeah, let's get some paper towels.
Yeah, make sure you got a high-rise plate when you cut those things because they are juicy. Same with the corn and stuff. I ate the corn, some of the corn the other night. They have yellow and white corn there. My God, is that stuff good. Or as Cletus would say, yeah. But they've got in East Palatka, right by the weight station there, near Hardee's, and also in Satsuma. But go in there and see Andrea Williams working there after he gets out of school. Tell Matt and Luann thank you for supporting the community the way they do.
Yes.
I'll get into some more of that later on. Not tonight, but some other stuff that they've done in the past. So I know we're starting to count down on time here. I want to come back to Tom's AC. Do we have another one after this? How many
Thirst.
commercials?
We have like thirst.
Huh?
Thirst.
3.
Quench the thirst.
Quench
Okay.
the thirst. We got
Yeah, put the
couple.
quench the thirst up, and then we're going to get back to Tom's AC and heat.
Okay.
You guys will see why in a second. I know I'm taking them out of order, but Like I was having a conversation with Bruce today.
Earlier you said you wanted this last, so I just assumed.
Yeah. Okay. Quench the Thirst is something we do for the volunteer firefighters and some of our paid firefighters. Quench the Thirst is a program that Tammy and I started a few years ago, and what this is this is to help our volunteers and our firefighters so that they have water and snacks and stuff. A lot of these firefighters, especially volunteers, they only get paid $4 a call, and one call might last them, a day or two, especially if it's a brush fire. And we do have some nasty brush fires. The one thing about our firefighters here is we don't have the terrain like they do in California. But how in the heck these guys keep the fires from getting so out of control? Bruce was talking to me today, and he was talking about fires closing in on themselves and oxygen depleting and all this stuff. She's way over my head and way over their pay grade. But this is something we do. So go over to Hitchcock's in East Palatka or in Interlaken, and it's either Joanne or Mary. Just go up to the cashiers. They'll ask you if you want to donate and buy a case of water for volunteer firefighters. Pick them up a thing of crackers. Anything that they can stick in their pocket to munch on, Slim Jims, beef jerkies, stuff like that. Anything they can carry with them. Because a lot of these fires, Putnam County is so spread out, you're not going to find a fire where there's a convenience store there. Like the ones I went out and off at 315, not Boswell, what is that? Keystone
Heights?
Up past Keystone Heights, the one I went out to last year where it was all swamp fire and the peat moss and stuff under there. These things were way out in the boonies. I'm sitting there dying of thirst, and I know exactly what the firefighters go through because there's no stores around. There's no water. Everything around you from the heat and the fire and stuff just gets completely absorbed in the heat. And then you're standing out there and you're dehydrated, and these guys are packing suits. Friday night, we're going to have a couple of our volunteers on. Casey, and I believe Bruce is going to come in on Friday night. And I want you guys to stay tuned. I want you to hear some of the stuff that they have to go through and how heavy their equipment is. But the Quench the Thirst, like I said, is something that Tammy and I have gone through and set up to help the volunteer firefighters. So you guys make sure you donate to that. Beef jerky, Slim Jims. Come up rolls of toilet paper for the firefighter, or those handy wipes or Clorox wipes. Different things like that you don't think would make a difference, that will make all the difference in the world for these guys. Now, let's get up here to, let's put Tom's AC and heat. Oh, and also you can go to Save a Lot in Lake Mary, or not Lake Mary, good Lord, can't even think tonight. Save a Lot in Crescent City.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mary over there. They're also doing the drive there. You can go to the Hitchcock's and you can donate that, or just go by a store. I don't care if it's Walmart or where it is. Pick up a case of water, drop it off at their front door. Don't leave crackers and stuff outside the door. It's Florida. You're going to get ants and all kinds of critters in them. But today I got to meet with Bruce. Bruce owns Tom's AC and Heating. And I was really impressed. He's a firefighter and stuff. And he goes that extra mile to make sure, and I'll give you guys a good example. One of the fire stations called me up, and they needed air conditioning. And I believe it's 6 in East Palatka. They have window units. The window units are leaking. A lot of these fire departments are way outdated, to say the least. They should be, there should be funds, there should be tax money, there should be all kinds of stuff, but unfortunately there isn't. And he's gone in and he agreed to put the AC in for at cost. This is a big building, he's got an AC, but he's putting it in for him at cost. The whole thing is going to cost $1,500 is what he's going to be able to do it for. I couldn't even buy the parts, and I know a little bit about AC enough to get me in trouble, but I couldn't even buy the parts. The ductwork I couldn't buy for that. But he's taking a cut and a bath on it to make sure that his fellow brothers, or should I say brethren? Brothers.
Either or.
Get the air conditioning. If you don't think they need it, go into a fire department after they've had a fire And look at how dehydrated those things are. A fan is not going to cut it. They need air conditioning. These are guys and gals that are out there on the scene. They're in car fires. They're at car wrecks. The gear that they wear, and we're going to be setting up something if you guys would like to bring your kids out. We're going to be doing this at one of the fire stations here. I'm working on it right now, where you can bring your kids out. They can get to sit in a fire truck with the firefighters. They can get to meet them. But more importantly, when you guys are out there, you know, they'll get to turn on a hose and see what it's like to spray a fire hose, or yourself can do it as an adult. You want to see what they go through? And I'm going to get this set up with Bruce and probably Casey and a few other. Got to go through some channels to get it done. But I want you guys to go out there and just step in the boots and put the equipment on and walk about 50 yards in it to see what it's like to carry that. Some of that stuff with those tanks and everything is a couple 100 pounds.
Oh, if anybody's been around diving equipment, I can't even imagine having to do fireman equipment.
Yeah, well, diving equipment, you've got some buoyancy in there.
That's what I'm saying. If you can do that, you know, if you've ever done it, I can't even imagine fireman equipment, because that can be heavy if you're not used to it. But fireman equipment, that's a lot heavier, and the thicker outfits, and God bless them. I couldn't be in that heat and do it.
Yeah, it's and this man is a big man. I told you, I'm standing beside him. I mean, look at his head. He's almost to the top of the van. I'm sitting there looking up at him the whole time. I had to step up on the curb just to look at his man breast or his man boobs or his man chest. I mean, he's a big old guy now, and he's fit. If I had to get anybody to come in from a fire and rescue me, it'd be him, because I know he could pick me up with one hand, tote me like a sack of bread or taters. Anyways, he has an AC company out there, and the one thing that we try to promote and try to keep is to keep stuff local. Keep and promote the businesses in your county and in your community. And he's out of Interlachen, which is Putnam County. You people that don't know where Interlachen's at, just get on 20 and head north. You'll eventually run into it or run through it if you're not careful. It's one light right in the middle of town, and then boom, you're done. It's not a big place. But this man, you know what I found out today? He has 11 kids. You guys think about that. The average family has 2.3 kids. I don't know how they come up with a 0.3. Is there one running around hiding under the sofa someplace? Maybe that's the dust bunny that's under your bed. But 2 kids. I've raised 7 kids at different times. He has 11 children. For that, you guys definitely need to use him. But you want to keep the businesses local. And this man, I tell you what, it's few and far between that impressed me. But actually, we went out today and had lunch together. And by the way, thank you, Bruce, for the lunch. It was a great hamburger. But I enjoyed the talking to the guy more and learning about not just the AC and stuff that he does there, but and I have talked to a couple of people that he's done work for, and one person told me that he came in almost double the last, cheaper than the last person that did it. She was somebody that read it this afternoon. Anyways, he's a firefighter, but he also owns a local business. And so these are the people that you want to support. Support your local business. He has 2, actually it's 1 location, the building up there. They're redoing it right now, putting a roof on it, and that was 112 Volunteer Avenue in Interlachen, Florida. He was going over there today to check on it and see if they...
The building is located at 110 Commonwealth Avenue. Isn't that the one?
Okay. I'm confused.
I know. I love confusing.
But I'm always confused. He got to see that today when he was out there.
The building in the picture is 110 Commonwealth Avenue. He said that he's they're working on the roof and stuff on that. Okay.
Well, that's the building right there with the blue awning, right?
Yeah, that's 110 Commonwealth Avenue.
Okay, my confusion's starting to slip away. So
Bruce, somebody's got to keep him straight.
Yeah, right. But he does do free estimates, and he is willing to knock off. But you know what, guys and gals, I mean, he's a volunteer firefighter. He said that he would give like $20 off the bill, which is, he does give free estimates, but if you have to have service done on your unit, which normally, I believe, $85. I didn't bring my folder in with me. Well, his advertisement's not supposed to start until the 1st. Anyways, he said he would knock $20 off of it if you guys told him that you were from IITW Radio or the Putnam Way. But you know what? Don't do that. Give him the extra $20.
Yeah, I'm with
He's
you.
He's a firefighter. He does a lot of good for the community, and without our firefighters and stuff, we would have been burned down to the ground a long time ago. Go back to the Third Seminole Indian Wars and see what they did to Putnam County. When the troops came in, took one little arrow with a little bit of flame on it, and they burnt all the way from Lake George down all the way up to the city of Palaca. But support, like Amanda says, hashtag
Keep it local.
keep it local, or I think she says something different.
No, it's hashtag keep it local.
But you guys want to go over there, call Tom's AC and Heating. It's 386-684-2169, and tell Bruce that you want to get him to put in a new AC unit. And he does do mobile homes.
And if you see his van out there, make sure you honk at him and wave hi and say thank you for your service to this community.
Don't scare him, though, and don't moon him.
Yeah, no moons.
He's a big man. If he steps out, you try to get road rage on this guy, good God almighty, are you going to get your butt kicked.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that.
He is huge. I mean, his shoulder's halfway up the window. I mean, he's a big man. He's probably going to drag me down the street now and beat me. No, but he's like one of those teddy bear guys. So anyways, you guys use this man for your AC stuff. And also, when you see him out on the road, more important than if you don't need AC work done, at least thank the man for his service to the community. Yeah. And you see any volunteers, veterans.
Amen. It goes for all of them.
Your first responders, the police enforcement, even like you see Rick Surrency out on the street. Thank that guy too. Thank them for their service.
Thank our community leaders.
You guys bitch and complain, but take your kids that are a pain in the butt and multiply that by thousands in Putnam County. That's what these teachers and school board superintendents and stuff have to put up with. Good Lord, I wouldn't do it. No way. But thank you, Bruce, for your service. I'm not going to call you Tom. I don't want to piss him off.
You're a mess.
We got where's Amanda at? Speaking of Palaca Cinema, we didn't have a picture of we'll probably put that up because they got the GoFundMe account. My buddy that passed away from cancer.
I can send it over real quick.
Yeah, send that over. Put his name on it and
seconds.
stuff. Yeah, go ahead and put up Amanda's real quick. There's Amanda over at Palaca Cinema, the little sweetheart of Putnam County. Hey gang, I'm here with Amanda down at Palaca Cinema. Amanda, what kind of deals you guys got going on?
Right now we have our 250 Tuesday. 250 Concession Tuesday is a deal we offer on concession items. Tickets will never be 250, but still come on down, help us support 250 Tuesday. And as always, I want to thank the people of Palaca and Putnam County for hashtag keep it local. We really do appreciate your support, and we wouldn't be here without it. And we always love the kids. Everything we do is for the kids. So bring them on down, help us out, and as always, hashtag keep it local.
All right, thank you, Amanda. You're the best. You guys can go on Facebook too, and they chat. Palaca Cinema changes their listings on their movies. I know that they I don't even have the list with me tonight, but the movies change every Monday. Chris, as a matter of fact, when we're out romping the streets this Thursday.
Sure.
We're going to drop in and
You're not
photo
going to be
bomb
out
her.
Thursday. You're going to be busy.
Huh?
You're going to be busy Thursday. You're not going to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah. Friday. One day this week. We might do it Saturday or Sunday. But we're going to go in there and catch her off guard with the camera and stuff. Like we did that last time. She was totally off guard.
She looks like a nice person. I haven't had a chance to meet her yet, but she looks really cool.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. Okay. Let's see. I think that's about.
We got a story that's kind of important while I'm finishing this up.
Yeah, don't worry about putting that. Don't worry about putting that
Well,
up.
I'm almost done. The YouTube challenge that's going on. Have you seen that with the young lady that got burned?
The YouTube challenge, yeah, where these kids are taking gasoline and lighter fluid and rubbing alcohol and pouring it on themselves and lighting themselves on fire.
Hold on. Chris
Hopefully
is
we
working
don't
on
have a video
We have
of
a
it.
video we sent over, but Chris was having a little bit of trouble. The computer's wanting to be a stink tonight.
Oh, we're going to show a video of it.
It's actually the mother with the little girl. The little girl's 12 years old, and she came running out with from her knees up to her hair on fire. They're pouring rubbing alcohol on themselves and setting themselves on fire. It's a new YouTube challenge. Are you ready to go, Chris?
Yep.
I think your
All right.
is your mic off?
No, she's just not talking into the side of it. She's talking to the top.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, she's a girl, what you were just saying. She came running outside from her knees all the way up was on fire because she poured rubbing alcohol on herself. You guys look at this. It's she looks like a freaking mummy all wrapped up. But go ahead and...
This one has to be a video, y'all. You need to hear it, not see it.
A 12-year-old girl is recovering from the severe burns she received to nearly half of her body while she attempted a viral and dangerous internet challenge. Just minutes into a mid-afternoon nap on Friday, Brandy Owens was awoken by a loud pop that echoed throughout her home. Moments later, Owen saw her daughter, Tamia Landers, running down there halfway engulfed in a fireball that covered almost her entire body. She was running down the hallway past my bedroom on fire from her knees to her hair. Owens, a mother of 5 from Detroit, tells People. I just screamed, my baby. It was so awful. Owens and her fiancé then used towels to extinguish the flames, then placed the young girl in the bathtub and sprayed her down with cold water. I burned my hands in the process, Owens, 35, says. It was so traumatizing to see her on fire. The family rushed Tamia to Beaumont Health, and she was transported to a nearby children's hospital by the end of the night. She will stay there for the next several months to recover from the extensive second and third degree burns that cover 49% of her body. Woman, 18, hospitalized after attempting.
We also have a picture that we're going to pull up so you guys can see a little bit better of what happened. You can see the burned clothes, the burned chair, the burned flip-flop. You can see how bad everything was.
Yeah, that's enough of that video.
Rubbing alcohol.
I like those new computer things.
Well,
Owens.
Well, we tried to find a regular video, but for some reason, that was the only one that would actually play. We sent several of them earlier.
Yeah, you kids that are younger, don't be doing this dumbass stuff you guys do. Don't pour rubbing alcohol on yourself and think it's going to go out. Or you're going to be able to extinguish it out real quick. It's not going to work.
Yeah, if you look at this picture, right on the front of that rubbing alcohol bottle, it kind of says flammable. So, I mean, I don't understand why somebody would think of anything else. You get alcohol on you, it's going to be... But you can see the pictures of the flip-flop, the chair, and everything where she was sitting when she got burned. I mean...
Common Core has taught them not to be able to read. It's just the way it is. No,
I don't think it's Common Core. I think it's just, you know...
No, it's not Common Core. It's being,
kids just trying to fit in. Kids just thinking, okay, I want to be cool. And look at the lifelong consequences. They don't think about it. Last week, or the week before, we had the kids getting out of a moving vehicle just to do a dance thing. I mean, look at the one girl. She fractured her skull. And, I mean, come on, kids. This is stupid. Use your brain. Who cares about fitting in if it's going to cost you your life? I mean, I don't want lifelong scars for being burned just to fit in. It ain't worth it. And all those kids are going to do is laugh at you in the end. They're not going to be your friends. They're going to walk away. So it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, back in my day, I'm an old guy. All we did was hold a match up to our butt and try to light one of our farts on fire. That didn't work out well either. I never did that myself. That's what I'm going to tell everybody. But anyways, you guys putting lighter fluid on yourself, snorting condoms. What's some of the other ones? Eating Tide Pods. Smoking trumpet plants. You don't have to do that stuff. I'm not going to be impressed.
No, it's stupid.
I'd be more impressed if you actually did something that was...
So if I went and jumped off the bridge, is everybody going to join me? I mean, good grief, people. Use your brains, guys. You kids are smarter than that.
You guys want to impress me, younger kids? Pull up your freaking pants.
Oh, I know,
don't look
right?
like your diaper's full. You know, if I catch my son with his pants down like that, I'm going to whack him in the butt. You guys, we've got to get out of here in a couple minutes, but I want you to remember our fallen, our veterans. Respect the veterans. I heard a kid talking back to his mom the other day. Actually, it was today. And I just wanted to punk slap him. I think that's what they're calling it now. What used to be bitch slap him, but I wanted to punk slap him. You guys, don't talk to your mamas that way. Don't disrespect your parents. Don't care what you think. Your parents have had to go through hell to raise you and put out money that they shouldn't have. And if they could go back, they'd probably be gay instead of having you. You know, but don't disrespect your parents. You know, it's something this world has gone crazy with. There's no reason. Love your mama. I'm not going to say if your dad's a deadbeat dad, I mean, don't hate him. Just, you know, try to make it better and do the next best thing. If your mom, you know, treated you bad when you were little and wasn't there and was a crack whore or whatever, don't get wrapped up in the same stuff that they're wrapped up into.
Be the better.
Be the better person. You know, I didn't have a father growing up, and my mom was murdered when I was a young kid. I didn't turn out too bad.
Life doesn't define you. Life circumstances don't define you. You define yourself. You rise above them. You
But
fight
you know, got so many people, and we'll get into that on Wednesday night, that the guy today, what was it? He shot his kid for not cleaning his room.
Shot and killed his 21-year-old son for not cleaning his room.
I mean, I've wanted to smack my older kids around a few times for not cleaning their room, but I never think about it.
I don't think he meant to actually kill him, but he ended up killing his son in the process. I think he was just shooting at him to scare him, and it went the wrong way.
Yeah. Interlochen Soup Kitchen. Go ahead and put that one up, because we got about one more minute. We can. Interlochen Soup Kitchen, you guys support this. I had people online again last night that I was arguing with, saying it's dropping the businesses. It's taking away from local restaurant businesses because this man is open. It does not. These people are going there because they can't afford to go to a restaurant and eat. They can't afford groceries. You guys get some brains. Use your brain cells. If not, donate your body to science right now, because it's too late for you.
Why they're so stinking dumb.
This is a great program. Support it. Get a hold of Mr. Yantz. And at 386-972-1045, volunteer.
They're still doing a fundraiser to help raise the money for the fence, so you guys need to check that out on the Putnam Way.
Yeah, get involved. I'm going to go into his story a little bit more on Wednesday night and how you guys can volunteer and show up there and help collect canned goods for his band. You guys can check us out on the Putnam Way. That's T-H-E, like the Putnam, P-U-T-N-A-M, Way, W-A-Y. You can go in there. You can talk to Miss Tammy. She'll comment back to you. She writes some great articles and stuff. You can check us out here on IITWradio.com, IITW Radio Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on there. We have way more people that's on it than it shows. Same with YouTube, Facebook, on both channels. But you guys get involved. Support your local artists like Calvin O. This man, we're going to be putting up a fundraiser. He's got a great song. We need to send his butt to Nashville to get this new song up and recorded. Check us out. Remember to honor your veterans. Listen to the music that we have on. We have some great artists. We will see you back here tomorrow night with Mr. Greg Williams. He's an attorney. We're going to get into some political crap big time tomorrow.
And then we have Morning Fatty Wednesday. They're out of Gainesville.
Yeah, so all you gun haters, Morning Fatty will be in Wednesday. Okay, we're going to close this out. Who we got? Tyler Riffley?
Nope.
Who?
Tammy Bogle.
Tammy Bogle. Oh, Tammy's closing out tonight. All right, you guys support your local artists. We love you. I got to get out of here. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow night. The creek don't rise and the government don't get me first. We're out. Goodbye.
Right, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe.
Your name when the sky starts to pour. I won't be afraid, no matter how high the waters rise. I'll lift my hands and say, in the midst of the storm, I will praise your name. set you back. There is something I have learned. In the midst of the storm, I will praise your name. When the sky starts to pour, I won't be afraid. No matter how high the waters rise, I'll lift my hands and say,